Guys, it's official. Run DFW is back in the 2025 TBT tournament that will be taking place this summer. But that's not all. Leading up to that, we have a lot of very exciting things that we're going to be rolling out for you, including our Beyond the Arc podcast, our Coach's Corner with Jake and Tebow, and other content that we will be posting on our YouTube. So make sure that you go subscribe and like all of those videos because we're going to be spamming you with the highest quality basketball content around. And if you're looking for ways that you can become interactive, be on the lookout for a fan club that we're going to be launching very soon so that way you can support us and we can give it right back at you. On top of all of that, over these next few months leading up to the tournament, we're going to be looking for ways to interact with our community and get involved with all of you guys because we want to build this fan base and we want to thank you guys for supporting us in all of the ways that you do. So on behalf of all of Run DFW, I want to thank you in all of the support that you guys provide us in building the Dallas basketball community. Stay in touch with everything going on here at Run DFW so that way we can go win this TBT in the summer.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? You are watching The Sideline Show. I am your host, Jackson Prince, and today we have on a college basketball legend, in my opinion. This dude is definitely a legend in the DFW area, and I know I say I'm excited to have on every guest that I've ever had on the podcast, but none as quite as excited as I am about having this dude on. This dude really knows ball, and I think we're going to have a really good conversation today. So I want to welcome on my man, King McClure. What's up, dude?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Dude, I'm good, man. I appreciate you, inviting us out to your place, man. This is dope, man. So I appreciate you taking your time out.
Nah, for sure. When you asked me, I actually saw you originally.
Yeah.
Based off the Cam Wilder stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I can rock with my man, bro.
Yeah.
So I saw that, and I respect what you do. So of course.
That's what's up, man. No, I appreciate it, dude. We followed each other, and I was like, I want to ask him to be on the pod. I know he's a busy dude. Let me just shoot him a text and just see.
Yeah.
And that's how 90% of my reach outs go.
Yeah.
But I felt a type of way about asking you to be on because the first time I actually saw you, you were playing. You were in high school and you were playing at AAA, which I think was Trinity Basin.
Yeah.
Trinity Basin now, dude. You were playing against that loaded prime prep team with T. Ferg and Mark and all those guys. Because that's who I hung around. I was in 5th grade. I was working out with those dudes every day. Yeah. So it was Coach Ray, he had told me that they were playing. He was like, yeah, man, we playing. They say he's the best point guard in the city, yada, yada. You gotta come out and watch this game. I was like, all right, cool. So me and my pops pulled up, and yeah, dude, I was just like, man, no, dude can ball, but that prime prep team was crazy.
The prime prep team was loaded. It was Moutier, Mark Vital, T. Ferg. Now that team was.
And then the next year they had Billy Preston, Trayvon Duval.
Those teams were loaded.
Bro, the gym was always Mo Williams was always jumping with those guys.
Mo Williams, man, yeah, you taking it all the way back. Remember Mo Williams had his academy? It was in Urban or something like that.
Yeah, it was in a warehouse, dude. When I tell you I was there every day, I was a skinny little white kid. I had just moved to Dallas, had a mohawk. Yeah. I was there every day, bro, from sunup to sundown. That was the spot, man.
Man, those were the good old days. I remember Mo used to invite me to a few of his runs. And he was one of the first dudes who, first pros, who kind of took me under his belt and was like, hey, this is how you do this. And I wasn't even one of his kids. He just was like, hey, you got a lot of talent. You have a good future. Let me show you the ropes a little bit. But Mo was a real one. And I got to do one of his games when he was at Jackson State. And then, Alabama. What is he? Alabama A&M? Alabama State?
Yeah.
He's at Alabama State.
Alabama State, because I know he's at Jackson State.
Yeah,
the reason I know that was because Juan Reyna went to.
Yes. So he was at Alabama State. I did one of his games at Alabama State, and I did one of his games at Jackson State. Actually, I did 2 of his games. Yeah. And it was cool to catch up, kind of like a surreal moment. But shout out to Mo Williams. He was a real one.
Dude, what? In the Dallas area, I feel like if you could really hoop, you had some type of connect, whether it was Truth or whatever the AAU team was, and then Mo Will, and then RM5. That whole era right there was pure Dallas basketball.
Bro, his AAU team with Malik Newman and Moutier in the backcourt was absolutely stupid.
Bro, so I was living in the Valley at the time. I was in McAllen. And I remember my trainer, Jesse Pistacacci, he played.
My guy.
Yeah.
My former AAU teammate.
Dog, he was my trainer. He was in high school. He was just working me out. And he was like, bro, if you ever want to be anything in basketball, you got to come to Dallas. So I was like, all right, bet. He's like, I'm going to take you up there, show you who I'm playing with, and whatever. Dog, the first ever time I seen a Dallas guy touch a basketball, it was T. Ferg standing windmill. I was like, I ain't got a chance, bro. Oh man, yeah, dude. So
shout out to Jesse, man. That was my. I played with him with the Texas Titans.
Yeah.
So we played together for like two-ish years. He ended up leaving, but
like y'all two, like Mickey Mitchell was on that team.
Mickey Mitchell, Tyler Davis, DJ Hogue.
Yeah. Y'all were crazy, man.
So Jamambo, who actually was the starting running back at UCLA with my man Josh. What's his name in the NFL?
I'm losing it. Yeah.
What is my man's name? Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Jared Goff. So I mean, he was a multi-sport athlete.
He was crazy, dog.
We had the Jerry Baptiste, went to Vanderbilt. Even Damian Jones played with us a little bit, but he toggled between us and like the 2013 team.
Yeah.
With Julius Randle and Matt Jones and those guys.
Yeah.
And then our younger team, we had Cade Cunningham and Mike Miles, and we had some dudes coming throughout the Titans
like
program.
Y'all had squads, bro.
We had dudes with the Titans, so shout out Jesse, man.
Yeah, Jesse's my guy, man.
Small world,
dude, super small world. Well, I mean, like I've known of you for 10, 12 years now, but so no, this is actually like super cool moment for me because like. Shoot, man, I used to watch you all the time, bro. So
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, dude. So let's talk about like a little bit of high school ball and then like transitioning into college because you went, Baylor point guard. Like, what was that whole process like for you?
Guys, real quick, if you're an athlete, coach, or a parent, I want to discuss something for just a moment. One of the most important components of college recruitment and personal branding is having your game highlights on social media. It's not a secret that every coaching staff in the country not only has social media, but they utilize social media as a recruiting tool when trying to find the best players. The problem with trying to get your highlights out there is that hiring someone else to do it for you is super expensive, and trying to do it yourself is extremely time consuming because of all the editing that has to go into it. My dad probably spent 8 to 10 hours per tournament making a highlight tape for me just so we could put it out there, but that's because we didn't have a tool like Clutch Shots. Clutch Shots is an AI computer vision platform that allows you to shoot wide angle footage of your games in 4K and generate highlights that are optimized for social media in less than 10 seconds after the play occurs. Parents, whenever your kid scores a big bucket, just double tap the screen and continue recording, and Clutch Shots will reframe and motion track that entire play for you, all in 4K quality, so that way you can continue watching the game without the stress of having to edit all of the clips afterward. Guys, I wish I had a tool like this during my high school playing career, and having film on social media is only going to become more important. So take charge of your media and download the Clutch Shots AI app today.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was interesting. It was unique because my dad didn't allow college coaches to talk to me. Like everybody had to go through him. So then what he did was he kind of filtered out all the coaches, and then like the coach that I wanted to talk to, like my final, I guess, 5.
Yeah.
Then I had personal connections with them, personal communication with them, which honestly, looking back, I'm kind of thankful for that. My final 5 came down to Baylor, Arkansas, UCLA, Kansas, and North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I mean, I chose Baylor due to the proximity to my house. It's probably only like 50 minutes from here. And I built a relationship with Scott Drew, Jerome Tang. Jerome Tang actually offered me in the 8th grade.
That's
so I was
crazy.
14 years old. I got my first offer from Baylor. I went down there. I kind of knew on that visit, like it was unofficial. I was super young. But I knew on my visit, like, all right, this is the place I'm probably going to end up at. But like, let me at least explore my other options. I always tell people, like, had Carolina called a week or 2 earlier, because I committed my junior year to Baylor. Had Carolina called a week or 2 earlier, I might have been a target. That's my dream school. Like, that's just really? I love everything about North Carolina, from Jordan to the colors to just the Duke rivalry. I mean, it was my whole dream. Like when I'm in the backyard playing basketball, and I'm like, okay, coming down with 3 seconds to go. You're playing against Duke in the ACC championship.
Yeah.
So North Carolina probably would have been one of the schools. I was almost a Jayhawk too.
Really?
Yeah, I was almost a Jayhawk too.
I didn't know that. That's what's up.
I was almost a Jayhawk, and I remember Coach Tang had called me and literally was like, hey, we hear you're about to commit to Kansas. Whatever please do not do that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll appreciate me telling this story, but he begged me not to go to Kansas. But I ended up choosing Baylor, and I made the right decision for my career.
For sure.
And not just from the basketball links, but just in life as well. I think I made the right decision, but I ended up choosing Baylor. I ended up playing 4 years, and it was a blessing for me.
Yeah. Dude, I got to ask you, because I've always wondered this with, like, guys who didn't really get to experience it. You think you would have killed an NIL? Dude, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, all right, you were one of the top recruits in the country. You're going to Baylor. Like, y'all were cold. Like, you personable dude. I imagine that you would have cleaned up pretty well, huh?
Listen, don't even get me started on this front, bro. Because this makes me sick. And some of the numbers that I've been hearing lately since I'm still in this are absolutely ridiculous. So then when you put these guys' numbers, like as far as the amounts of money, and you compare their stats to my stats, and my stats are better than their stats, I should be making more, the same amount, if not more, than some of these dudes are making. Like, you got dudes out here making millions of dollars that don't average more than 10 points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to I think players should always get paid. So let's start there. Players should get paid. However, I'm a little salty. I'm a little jealous because I should have been getting paid. And we're getting the back pay or whatever, which I think is gonna add up to around.
I was gonna ask you about that. Like, are you taking advantage of that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's like a free what, 130,000 something like that.
Shoot for you.
Yeah.
Some of them dudes is getting 130 pennies, bro. Like,
no, for sure. Man. But I mean, I think that that's cool. But I think that.
What's up, guys? If you are a high school or college athlete, it is extremely important for you to understand what NIL actually is, how you can use it to your advantage, and where the future of NIL is going. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people call themselves NIL experts, when the fact is NIL is way too new for any singular person to master all of the nuances in this new multi-billion-dollar industry. However, there are resources that you can access that'll bring you one step closer to finding your place in one of the largest blue oceans that we've seen in years. My personal favorite is a company called Clean Connect. This NIL certification course provides you with 5 hours of in-depth content to help you get started with your success in the NIL industry, and it is the only of its kind made for athletes and sports professionals alike, giving you a clear-cut advantage over the thousands of other competitors that are all trying to find their slice in this new development in a very large sports industry. So if you are interested in becoming certified in the NIL space and want a clear advantage over your competitors, visit cleanconnect.com and use code JPrince at checkout for 15% off, or hit that Clean Connect link in my bio now.
We can go on a whole show about this, but I think that the NCAA, it was right for them to allow athletes to get paid. However, there has to be laws. There has to be regulations and rules in place to prohibit some of the things that we are seeing right now. Because what we're seeing in college basketball, I'm not here for it. We saw what Leonard Hamilton right now is getting sued by 6 of his players. And Leonard Hamilton's hey, I don't know nothing about this. And Leonard Hamilton is a good dude. You ask anybody that's played for him, anybody that's talked to him, he's a good man. I don't think that man right there that I've met or that a lot of people speak highly of is going to just not pay and just withhold people's money, right? Yeah. So for them to go sue the school, there's no accountability either way. Because so what if they didn't pay you? There's no contract in place.
Yeah, it's a promise.
Yes, it's a promise.
But there's no because I've seen the contracts that a lot of my teammates and stuff at Texas were signing, and it's there's nothing guaranteeing that you're going to get $130K, $150K.
Nothing.
That's just we think we're going to be able to give you this much, but it's variable.
Because it's illegal to have a contract that says that. So because it's illegal, there's no signs of accountability. I mean, we saw that with the quarterback of
UNLV.
UNLV, Sluka. I mean, he goes there. He stops playing the second game of the year because he's bro, I ain't get my bread. And he was only wanting $100,000.
Yeah.
It's one thing if he wanted $500. Well, he wanted $100K for a quarterback in today's landscape. That's cheap.
In the Mountain West.
Yeah. He wanted $100,000 for a starting quarterback. That's probably at minimum, maybe $350, $400.
But refusing to play second game though?
No, that's crazy.
That's career changing. You're crazy. Changing up your career for $100K.
That's crazy. When in reality, but let's think about it this, right? What job? Is he an NFL player?
I ain't watched the dude play, so I don't know. I haven't heard him on any NFL draft boards. I don't know. So is he ever going to see $100,000? I mean, if he has, he's gonna have to go work for it. But is he ever gonna see $100,000 playing football? Probably not, no.
So
and then like that's the thing too is now that he's done that, for sure, no.
Yeah. No, nobody's touching him.
Yeah, no one's touching him.
But
He's
like,
blacklisted.
but then again, like playing devil's advocate, it's like you standing on business, right?
Yeah.
I was lied to.
Yeah.
So like, why should I go perform for you? So go perform for a school that enticed me to get here, but ended up lying to me.
Yeah.
That didn't have my best interest at heart. So like, I see both sides of the story. Like even if I was a coach, I'd still have a little bit of interest. 'Cause I'm like, all right, you stood on business, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of played in your face a little bit.
For sure.
But I mean, you're right. Like I probably wouldn't have made the move.
I mean, trust, bro. I'm on the side of the athlete almost always.
Yes.
I just think about it in terms of, all right, you're obviously not going to stick around there. So, like, what other options do you have?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always on the side of the athlete 98% of the time, unless the athlete is really wrong.
Right.
Then I'm going to call it out.
For sure. So, man, let's talk about, like, your Baylor days. Chose to go there. Mm-hmm. Talk about, like, the evolution of your game through those 4 years. Because I've seen me, like, me now compared to where I was I was sorry in high school compared to like what I'm at now. So I mean, I'm sure like you weren't sorry at all, but like I'm sure you saw a similar jump.
Yeah, so I think for me, like my path was a little different because I had the heart disease and I had the situation where when I got there about second week, like I was diagnosed. Well, they said something was wrong with my heart. They really didn't know what was going on, so we had to go to different doctors. We went to the Seattle Seahawks doctor. And I was told, this was probably like, June? I was told that if I would have ever played basketball again, I'd be dead. So, I mean, that happened. We get a second opinion. We go to a doctor because of Monty Williams, who was the coach at Phoenix and then was the coach of Detroit, who got that crazy buyout in Detroit.
Man.
But he has the same heart disease as me. My high school coach, Tim Singleton at AAA, introduced me to Monty. And Monty put me on with his doctor. So then we flew out there to go see his doctor. His doctor told me the same exact thing that the first doctor said. Like, I'm surprised you're still alive. And if you play basketball, if you continue to play basketball, you're probably going to die. And I'm like, dang, yo, it's my dream, right?
Yeah.
So then we go get a third opinion at the Mayo Clinic, which is, if you know anything about like medicine, it's one of the biggest hospitals in the world, arguably the biggest for cardiology. And he said, I have good news and bad news. The good news was I could play. The bad news was I had to get a heart surgery. I had to get an internal cardiac defibrillator placed inside my body to ensure that if anything were to go south, if I were to, collapse on the court, kind of like similar to what happened to Bronny.
Yeah.
If something were to collapse, if I were to collapse, then it would bring me back to life. So mind you, like college basketball, as a freshman, June to August is a huge pivotal time.
Yeah.
Because you are learning the college game. You're learning the speed of the game, trying to adjust to your teammates, learning the sets, learning the plays. Yo, I ain't getting any of that. So like from June, the time I stepped on campus, I didn't touch a basketball and get on court with my teammates until October 1st.
So I imagine like the way you found out initially was like they ran you through all of the tests that you have to do when you get down there?
Yeah. So
Dang.
Isaiah Austin, shout out to Isaiah Austin.
Okay.
He went through his whole thing, got drafted, and then on draft night they found out, or the day before the draft, they found out about his Marfans. And Coach Drew, ever since then, was like, hey, we never want that to happen again to any of our players. So every freshman will get screened. So echocardiograms, EKGs, first week. And mine came back abnormal. So I didn't get that whole summer to practice. So, and mind you, like, I was getting fat. They told me I couldn't work out at all. Like, I couldn't do anything because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know the severity of my heart disease. So from June to October 1st, I didn't do anything. So my first day of official practice was October 1st. That was the first day of official practice.
Yeah.
So that's when, like, we start getting into the grind. You got that month and a half grind before the season starts where it's just 4 or 5 hour practices and you're up at the gym for about 7-8 hours a day. That was my introduction to college basketball. So the reason why I say all this is because the only thing that I could do in that moment was shoot the basketball. Mm-hmm. I couldn't dribble because I didn't understand the speed of the game. I understand making quick decisions. I understand coming off a pick and roll and making the right read, locating the tag. I don't understand any of this. So all I could do was catch that thing and shoot and let it fly and knock it down consistently. So I kind of got thrown into a label really quickly at Baylor of just being known as a shooter. So when you talk about like how my game kind of progressed, so like my game in high school was more of a scorer, on-ball guy. Well, in college, because when I got back, and then I don't know why I didn't redshirt, but I got rushed back. I had a month and a half to play my first college game against Stephen F. Austin. That was the year Stephen F. Austin made it to the Elite Eight. And they actually, we beat them by like 40 though, first game. It was crazy.
Yeah.
We beat them by we smacked them. And I actually played like every single game my freshman year, and I had no business playing.
Yeah.
But I had played every single game my freshman year because Coach Drew was like, hey, we recruited you to play. We need you to play. But Coach Drew, I mean, going into it, he kind of expected me like, hey, you got a chance to be a pro. So, like, I don't know how long I'm going to have you here, but you have a chance to be a pro. But then the things kind of changed once I had the heart disease and they found out about everything. But my game kind of changed a little bit because I was known more as a shooter. And Coach Drew, put me as more of like a shooter than anything else. But, I'm glad I went to Baylor because if I didn't go to Baylor, then, I would never found out about my heart disease and, Lord knows where I would have been.
Yeah, for sure, man. Nah, dude, I think that's one of the coolest stories I've ever heard. Because, I mean, it obviously, like, worked out well.
Yeah.
Like, in the long term, I mean, shoot, we get to have this conversation because they caught it. You know what I'm saying? So,
100%.
What were some of, like, your big college moments? Like, hoop-wise? I mean, you played in so many big games. Like, I know you can't narrow it down, but, like, if you had to.
In sports, success is not just about talent. It's about having the right tools to make every move count. That's where B1 Sports comes in. With next-level AI technology, we provide the tools so that way you can work harder, play smarter, and stay ahead of the competition. Just like a basketball team needs precise plays, you and your team need precise insights. B1 Sports combines artificial intelligence with sports science to give you all of the tools necessary so that way you can stay ahead of the competition. It all comes down to making smarter moves, being one step ahead, and having faster decision-making so that way you can win on and off the court. No matter what your game plan is, B1 Sports is your AI teammate that you can count on. Get ready to elevate your performance with data-driven AI technology that's always in your corner. Join the future of sports technology today at b1sports.com. It's time to play smarter, compete harder, and win bigger. Go to b1sports.com today.
I think the game my sophomore year, we were playing Louisville in the Battle for Atlantis. I remember I started off that year horrible. My sophomore year, I was in that sophomore slump. I'm talking about like I was playing maybe like 6 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And like I was bad. I was really bad. Like I couldn't make a shot. I couldn't do anything right. Then we go to the Battle for Atlantis, which is around Thanksgiving. So we're probably about like 6 games in. We first game played BCU. Second game, we played Michigan State with Miles Bridges.
Yeah.
Third game, championship game, we played Louisville, Donovan Mitchell. So first game, I played like 6 minutes, horrible. Second game, same thing, probably about like 8 minutes, not great. Last game, before the game, Coach Drew comes to me. This is like the weirdest thing ever. He comes to me and was like, hey, King, I have a feeling you about to have a crazy game. And I'm like, man, stop talking to me, man. You ain't even putting me in the game like that, right?
Yeah.
So I get to the first half. I played 4 minutes. I can't make a shot. I'm on the bench for the rest of the half. At halftime, we're down by 20. Coach Drew was like, man, listen, we got to just do something. We got to try something. So he just throws me in there in the second half. All of a sudden, I scored 1 bucket. I scored 2 buckets. Now I scored 3 buckets, right? And now we're like slowly climbing back. He leads me in the game for the rest of the game. I ended up having like 18 in the second half. We won the championship. We was down by 20, won the championship. That was like one of my first, actually, let's backtrack. My biggest game my freshman year was against Buddy Hield at OU. Buddy Hield at OU, I think I had like 20. We were down by similar situation, right? I'm the guy, right? That when we're down by 20 at half, let's
put in King. Let's see if he can do something.
Let's see if he can do something, right? So my freshman year, Buddy Hield, that team was crazy. Buddy Hield, what is the kid from? What's the dude name? Isaiah? What's my man's name? Oh my goodness, he was so good. I completely forgot my name.
Yeah,
forgot his name. And then the point guard, Jordan. That team was crazy. That team was at the Final Four. I forgot their names, but that team was at the Final Four. But we were down by 20, came in the game. I think I scored like 20. And then we didn't win that game, but we came back, took the lead for like a quick second. Then Buddy Hitler might have hit a crazy shot or something. I got my first like college dunk in that game. I got a steal and like threw it down off the right leg. And And then my second year, the game against Louisville. My third year, it was the game against Creighton.
Yeah.
The game against Creighton, Marcus Foster. That was a really big game too. My senior year, I had a few big games my senior year, but Oklahoma State was probably one of my biggest games, probably one of my best games ever. I think I had like 29, hit like seven threes in the game. Like 7 threes in the game. My senior year was like the closest to me. Like I finally got back to having fun playing basketball, and it was like actually, like me playing, like the dude who was in high school. Like that was the closest thing to playing. But those are probably going to the Sweet 16. We played USC to get to the Sweet 16. I had like 16. I had a lot of big games in college. Yeah.
I did. No, when I asked you that question, that's why I was like, I don't even know if he's going to be able to give me an answer, because not a lot of dudes get to get decent minutes all 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a common problem. Well, not a problem, but like that's a common thing that we're starting to see now. Is I'm sure you can attest to this too. Is like freshmen don't really get minutes.
Yeah.
So you don't really get to fill out your role until maybe junior, senior year.
Yeah, it's crazy because when you look at this year's freshman class, I don't know if we've seen like a freshman class like this in a very long time. Because like I can name the top guys. We can name the Ace Baileys, the Dylan Harpers, the Cooper Flaggs, or I don't know, Trey Johnson. We can name BJ Edgecombe. We can name those guys, right? But let's name the guys, the Asa Newells, the Jeremiah Fears, Tahad Pettifords.
Yeah.
Like these are guys who weren't necessarily top 25, top 30 guys. These guys weren't McDonald's All-Americans. However,
Asa Newell should have been a McDonald's
All-American. Asa Newell probably should have.
He should have been.
But these guys weren't. But I mean, the Igor Denhams, the Cannon Catchings, right?
Yeah.
These guys are stepping in and dominating on a college level, which we really haven't seen. Like the LeBaron Philon from Alabama. These guys can play, but they weren't getting the same hype. This freshman class is probably a smooth, 25, 30 deep of dudes who are averaging over, 10 points a game, which is hard. Like Jason Sanan from Arizona State, another one. Like Jaden Quaintance.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys, I can just rattle them off, dudes who are producing at a young level. And like to your point, in the past few years, we haven't seen this.
Yeah.
And this year is a rarity in what we're seeing in college basketball.
Why do you think that is? Is it just now that we're seeing a rise in freshmen actually playing? One thing that I think I attribute it to, like obviously players are more talented now than they have ever been before in the U.S., but kind of like you were saying, and we were just talking about with AAU, they play too many games and not enough practices and like actual individual skills training and workouts. And like guys are becoming more skilled because they're hooping more, I think, and they're starting to figure out nuances of the game at an earlier age because trainers are getting better.
Yeah.
But I also think that the reason freshmen get to play so much now is because with NIL, you have a coach telling a kid, we're going to pay you $1 million to come here and play.
Yeah.
If a coach pays a kid who's coming in as a freshman $1 million, I mean, it's like the pros. Like, if you're one of the highest paid players on the team, you're going to play.
Yeah.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you're one of the highest paid players on the team, you're going to play. Otherwise, that coach looks stupid,
No, 100%. But, like, I guess my whole caveat to that is AAU getting bad? Is AAU so bad because of the amount of games you play or because of all the extra BS that goes on with it?
I think both. Like, me being in AAU semi-recently, like, it was still really competitive, but there was also a lot of, like, I think just media around kids is getting out of hand. And I think kids are becoming more media trained, but I also think that they're becoming more expectant of media. So if I'm a kid who's a 3-star and I play at a decent high school and I play for, a mid-range EYBL team, I'm thinking, because I play for EYBL, I should be getting all this media. But that's not how it works. And like, I mean, shoot, even when you were in high school, it was like only the top dudes got mixtapes.
Yeah, that's ball is life.
It wasn't like every player got a mixtape. And like me, I was a catch and shoot guy getting mixtapes. Like how? Like it's the same clip 9 times in a row. But I mean, like now you just got these kids and they're just expecting all the wrong things. And like they would rather be like a Julian Newman. as opposed to being a King McClure.
But you know what? I think, to answer your question earlier, when you say that, I think a part of that kind of attributes to the freshmen having so much success because of all the attention that they're getting. They're extremely confident. Now, you can say it's arrogant, right? That's fine, cool. But, like, I think that arrogance kind of they feel like they belong here. Like, they're not afraid of the moment. I think that's the biggest thing that we're seeing with a lot of these freshmen. I think they're stepping in. They're like, man, listen, I belong here.
Yeah.
Like, I got 60,000 followers on social media.
That's a good
right?
point.
I'm really him. So, like, I'm going to show that I'm him no matter where I'm at. And I always think that way. I feel invincible in a sense. So I think that that's one of the reasons that attributes, like, even when you look at a kid like Tahad Pettiford, right? Auburn, he's on a team full of upperclassmen.
Yeah.
But he comes in the game, and you feel like, oh,
yeah,
you took that shot when you got Janai Broom, like, over here in the post, potential player of the year candidate. You look him off and shoot that tray. Like, it's one of those things where you can just tell the confidence that he has. And also, like, if I know I got 65,000 followers on social media, my bank account also says 500,000 because NIL. Oh, I'm him.
Yeah.
I belong here.
That's true. That's a really good point that I haven't thought of. Do you think that's only like, well, I think two things. One, I think it's because they're taking more time to, like, choose their school. Like, you see kids committing a lot later now, on average at least. Like, the top, I mean, they got all these options. They can go wherever. But I think, like, that 30 to 80 ESPN 100 range, I think they're taking a little bit more time to commit to schools now. So they're choosing, like, Asa Newell. I mean, like, yes, he's a Georgia kid, but, like, him committing to Georgia, and I was with him on his visit to Texas, and we talked about it because I told him, like, I know that Texas is not your number one. Like, you ain't got to tell me, like, oh, I'm really about to come. Like, no, don't lie to me, bro. Like, really, where are you thinking? And he's like, man, I'm really thinking Georgia because I think I'm just going to get more opportunity there. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't tell him one way or another. I was being a good host on behalf of Texas, but, like, do your thing.
I think that's what you have to do if you're a freshman, because I think that when you look at the transfer portal, that's the scary part. The scary part is if you're a senior going into college and I commit, right, that whole summer, like, we kind of got to wait a little bit. I want to see who's going to leave. I want to see who my coaches are going to go bring in. Because if I come in and all of a sudden my coach doesn't think I'm good enough and he goes and recruits a senior point guard that's going to play over me, like, even like a guy like Rob Wright, like Rob Wright at Baylor. Rob Wright is elite.
Yeah, he's
elite. But he's coming off the bench playing behind Jeremy Roach, a senior veteran point guard. And now, granted, right, they make it work because, you know, Jeremy plays about 25, 30 minutes a game. Rob also can, like, they can play in bunches together. But that's not the case for a lot of schools, a lot of programs. If you got a dude like Jeremy Roach and you're paying him how much you're paying him, and then you bring in a high-level point guard, well, he's going to have to sit the bench and learn for a year.
For sure.
And what kid nowadays wants to learn for a year when I can just go play somewhere else and get my money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that it kind of makes it interesting, you know, when you talk about that.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know, man. I see it, and it's like, I love watching these dudes hoop. I like watching young guys cook because I just think it's a lot of fun. Like, they bring a different energy to the game. Like, Rob Wright plays with a different energy than Jeremy Roach does.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
It's just a visual thing. I mean, shoot, man, I just love watching college basketball, man. Like, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, but I think in a lot of ways, and I know this is kind of a hot topic because of NBA ratings going down, do you enjoy watching college more than the league?
Yeah, I do. Primarily because it's my job. Like, I'm just a huge fan of basketball. I love basketball in general.
Yeah.
So I watch WNBA. I watch women's college basketball. I watch NBA. But I think for me more so, you feel a different energy in college than you do the NBA.
Yeah.
And it's not to say I hate this other narrative that we build that say NBA players don't play hard. I just think they're so talented that they make the game look easy.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like they're not trying, right? So I don't think that they're not necessarily playing hard. Like, are they playing, 100 miles an hour every single game, giving 100% effort, 82 games out of the year? Probably not.
You probably can't.
You can't.
That.
Like,
yeah,
unless you're Russell
you,
Westbrook, right,
yeah.
or LeBron, like, you can't do that. So, like, I don't like the narrative that we talk about NBA, talking about it's only competitive in the playoffs. No, it's just, for me, it's a different energy. Like, I think it means more like when you go watch a game at Kansas playing Allen Fieldhouse compared to going to watch a Lakers game, like the energy's different, right? It's a 17,000 passionate fans that love their team, that bleed red and blue, compared to Celebrity Row with like, yeah, you got some Lakers fans, but it's not the same energy. And that's not like crapping on the Lakers fan base, nothing like that. Just college fan bases are so passionate about their schools that it just brings a different energy. And I love the energy that college basketball brings. So, yeah, I mean, the NBA ratings are down, but the NBA's fine.
They'll fix it.
The NBA is fine. The only thing they need to fix is the freaking All-Star weekend. You got to fix that. You got to figure something out.
You don't think that the pickup strategy is going to work?
It would only work if the stars buy into it,
right,
and want to actually do it and play hard. Like that's the only way it's gonna work, right? But like for people that go out here and say, we're gonna go on a tangent real quick.
Yeah.
For the people who say the NBA they shoot way too many threes and that's why the ratings are down, you're stupid.
Yeah, that's not
that don't
why.
make sense.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense at all. Like, come on now. And it's always the people that don't know anything about basketball that want to put their 2 cents in and talk about, you shoot too many threes. Let's take away the corner shot, right? The corner 3-point line. Let's scoot it back and see if these dudes are going to be able to take the same amount of three. No, you sound dumb, bro. That's not smart. Like we gotta stop with all these narratives and all these falsehoods. Like that doesn't make sense, bro. I've been waiting to get that out.
I can tell, bro.
Like goodness gracious, bro. Like
so why do you think NBA ratings are down then?
I mean, I think because you can consume your media in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's so many different ways in order to like watch games. People stream it illegally. Like people, the digital space is so huge.
Watching it through the VR headsets.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways. You can go to like Cosmo, whatever the place is in Frisco, and go watch a live game. Like there's so many different ways to consume your media. So I feel like a lot of kids, even kids, they get a lot of their stuff off of Instagram.
Yeah.
Like social media, like just watching the highlights and stuff. So why would I watch a full game if I can get like the 20 best plays of the game,
you know what happened
on my phone? Yeah. I know what happened, and I still be just as informed because I find myself doing it, right?
Yeah.
I find myself, all right, what's his name? Jordan Poole had a crazy game. No, CJ McCollum last night. I didn't watch the game. I know he had 50. Yeah. I know he was kind of efficient, right? Because I watched the highlights on my phone. So I just think that's the reason why. Like, all these people that call themselves quote-unquote experts talking about the 3-point line and taking too many threes. Stop.
Dude, I was telling this to BG because we went to a Mavericks game a few weeks back, and there was some play that happened, and everyone was like calling travel. Like all these fans are up here going like this, and I'm like, look at all of these casuals out. Like it was like a Pinoy step, like a slow step, and I'm like, that's not a trap. Like Luka did a slow step. Everyone's, oh. I'm like, I'm looking around, and me and BG are just dying laughing.
Man, the casual fan, I mean, like, no shade to the casual fan. We got a casual fan, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, when it comes to rules, when it comes to, like, it's almost like me in football, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I watch the college football playoffs, and I'm over here talking about that's targeting, which I think it was targeting, right?
Yeah.
In the Texas-Arizona State game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a casual. I don't really know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I don't know the rule.
That's why I don't say anything, bro. I'll just be sitting here like, I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, I don't know the rule, but, like, that's how I feel when it comes to basketball. Like,
yeah.
Certain people, like, give their opinions on the game, but have never laced up a jersey or laced up their shoes and put on a jersey on any level.
Yeah.
Like, not even high school, right?
Yeah.
So, like, it's like almost as if, like, why do we listen to your opinion?
It's all these econ dudes, man. It's the econ majors that grow up and they got all this money and nothing to do with their time except for watch basketball.
But
they know better than you, King.
Look, listen, they're elite at talking. They understand, like, I don't know. I guess they understand the nuances, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I just feel like sometimes we just get carried away. And, like, if you ain't put on a jersey, like, it's one of those things. I don't know if I really want to, like, listen to you and what you got to say about it.
So let me ask you this, because this is your profession, right? It's talking about hoops. So, like, do you feel like that about, I don't want to say your coworkers, but other people in your space?
I mean, I think that there are a lot of clickbait people in the space, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think that there are a lot of people who say things for clickbait. And, like, whatever your style is your style. And, like, I'm not saying that way is wrong or right. like me, I'm not a clickbait person. I'm more of like, I see what I see and I'm gonna call it like I see it. But there are some people who they like the fluff. They want the ratings. They want that. And that's cool, right?
Yeah.
And I respect that. Because you know what? Those people are great at what they do.
Yeah.
Like the Stephen A's, right? Like I guess everybody talks about Stephen A. Stephen A. is elite at what he does.
Yeah.
Like for him to be on top for what, like 10, 15, 20 years? For him to be so powerful in the space to where, you can demand $25 million and the company probably is going to have to pay you.
And that might be underpaid.
Yeah, and that might be underpaid for sure. Like Stephen A. is elite. Like Stephen A. is one of the best. And like, what? I talked about people that not put on jerseys. Like I think he put on a jersey like once. But he's one of the few people who I say, right? Despite you putting on a jersey, despite you not having to put on a jersey, I'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Because he is so well informed as far as he might say a few things for clickbait, but he does his research and he does his prep. I got a chance to shadow him and Molly at First Take when I was in New York. And to see how prepared he is, like to see how locked in he is, to see his connections, to like see how good he is at his job was something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And like, I think some things he says is clickbait for sure. But I think the whole him and the Cowboys thing, I think that's like really clickbait. I think that's very clickbaitish. I don't think he hates the Cowboys that much. I think that's super clickbaitish. But I think that when he talks about basketball and stuff like that, like I think that those are his informed opinions for sure. Like there's some other people on the internet, which I'm not gonna say. They don't work for ESPN, right?
I think I know like one dude.
They don't work for ESPN, right?
Right.
But there are some people out there that do things for clickbait, and you're kind of like, all right, man, like come on now, right? But I would say that ESPN, even Pat McAfee does a really great job.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee does a really good job of, he's just always him.
He's entertaining as hell, too.
And I respect that because, like, he never switches up for anybody. Like, to do what he did, like, imagine having built a brand so big to where, like, ESPN is coming to buy your brand. And you say, that's cool, but we're going to do it my way. I'm still going to my tank tops. I'm still going to do it how I want to do it. Right, you built your brand and your empire so big that a company like ESPN is coming to pay you to have your platform on their show.
Yeah,
like I mean, like things like that. Like we talk about these people, but like they're so influential and so powerful within the space that like I feel like we like undervalue like what they really bring to the table. But I mean, I think there are some people out there that do some clickbait stuff for sure. Like, clickbait material is a real thing, especially in this space.
Well, man, like, the way I see it, and I'm on both sides of it because I want truthful, honest, real conversations from really informed people, but I'm also a social media guy, man. Like, I've done some clickbait type things before, for sure.
Yeah.
But I am more on the side of, like, let's give real information from real people who actually, like, have been there. So how did you get involved in ESPN?
Yeah, it's a great story. When I was a senior, going into my senior year, we had like 8 newcomers. So Davion Mitchell, Maceo Teague, Jared Butler, Matthew Meyer, like all these guys were new to the team. And it was only like maybe like 3 or 4 returners. So our SID, the Mitch McConnell of Baylor. Shout out to Mitch McConnell. I don't know how you feel about him, but I like him. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah. I ain't never met him, so.
Oh, really?
Nah.
Oh, he's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mitch. But he basically was like, hey, you want to do these interviews? And I was like, sure. So I ended up doing the interviews, and I did it without a script, without a piece of paper. I was just having a casual conversation. And the SID afterwards was like, hey, you're pretty good at this. Maybe you should consider, media. And I was like, no. Because I mean, think about it. What dude do you know that was on ESPN that looked like me? Like, nobody.
Brandon Copeland, off and on.
Off and on. I mean, Jay Will was the closest thing.
Yeah.
But you don't have too many dudes that look like me on television, like my age, and even Jay Will. Jay Will is like 40. Right? So, like, dudes who are my age being on television, I didn't think that was possible. So, fast forward about, I don't know, like 3-4 months. It's Big 12 Media Day. I'm in the ESPN room with Holly Rowe. Our SID happens to mention to Holly that, King might want to get into media one day. Like, talk to him. And she was only supposed to talk to me. But we're doing this thing called fast breaks, and it's basically like 30 seconds rapid questions. And she does it to me, and then right after she finishes, she's like, hey, he wants to get in the media, so now he's going to do it back to me. 3, 2, 1, go. And we're live on camera like this. We're on camera, and I rip it off. She says, oh, wow. She's like, wow, like Holly Rowe, like the person we see on every single big game, whether that be college basketball, college football, like one of the biggest supporters in the world, looks at me and was like, wow, you really might have a future in this. And I was like, okay. Holly Rowe said that. Fast forward about 2 months. Baylor's playing UConn, women. And Holly Rowe is there with Rebecca Lobo and that crew. And Holly Rowe comes to the practice gym and says, hey, Coach Scott, like, let me talk to King real quick. She said, after practice, you go get on a suit and you come back and you shadow me. It's like, oh, okay, cool, right? So that's fine. So I go get a suit. I shadow her during halftime. Right before halftime, about like 2 minutes ago, she's like, I don't have a question. Give me a question to ask. I said, what you mean? She was like, give me a question to ask right now during the segment. I was like, okay. So I gave her a question to ask. Uses that exact question and goes and asks, I think Kim Moki or somebody, or Gino. And I was like, okay, cool. Amazing experience. Fast forward about 3-4 months from them, there's this at the Final Four, there's a 3-on-3 tournament for all the seniors. I was playing in it. And one of my mentors, Clark Kellogg, he's out there with Ernie, with Charles Barkley, with Kenny. And I hit him up and was like, hey, man, like I'm contemplating getting in the media. Can I shadow you while you're on set at the Final Four? He was like, yeah, go ahead. And he said, hey, I'm going to set you up with this guy. Go pick up your pass tomorrow when you get in town. So pick up my pass. When I get to the Final Four, it is an all-access pass on the floor. So Clark was doing radio for the game. I'm on set watching it with Ernie Johnson, watching it with Kenny. Charles was I think our room might have been playing that year. So Charles was in the back. But I'm on set, like, chopping it up with Ernie and Kenny. Like, we're just sitting there watching the game. And then when they would go on, like, Clark would come off. Like, I was in Clark's chair, and I'd get off and just watch them. I got to chop it up with all of them. I learned so much from Ernie, though. Ernie's one of the realest people ever. Yeah. Like, one of the realest dudes ever. The nicest human beings ever. Even to this day, I'll shoot him a text and be like, man, I'm so proud of you and your success. Like, happy for you. Even Clark Kellogg, too. But, like, that moment was huge for me. So then fast forward about, I don't know, that was in April. So fast forward to May or June. Holly Rowe is in Oklahoma City for the Women's College World Series. I'm in Dallas. And she's like, hey, if you want to practice, come drive up here and we can practice some stuff. I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to do it. So I drove about 4 hours to Oklahoma City, practiced with her for only 2 hours, and drove right back. Because, I wanted it that bad. And mind you, during this whole time, I'm still thinking I'm going to play basketball. And when I came out, it was time for me to go through, like, my NBA draft process. My agent at the time, I'm not going to name his name, my agent at the time was not great, all right? So he told me every single NBA team red flagged me. I had no chance because of my heart. Yeah. I couldn't get a workout or anything. However, right after that, I got my first deal to go to Japan to play basketball in Japan, which if you know anything about, like, overseas basketball, the Asian leagues are good. And I'm a type of dude, I would have stayed in the Asian league for forever and just racked up my money, right? Yeah. So it was to go to Japan for 70. And I was like, you know what, let's take it. My agent at the time was like, hey, like, nah, let's wait off. You might get something better than this. My man didn't give me another deal until August, September. And that first deal came in, like, May. He didn't give me a deal till, like, August, September. It was to Great Britain. Great Britain for, like, $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I said, how we go from 70 a year to 1,000 a month, right? I said, this don't add up, right? I started at Baylor. I started since my sophomore year. Like, what's going on? But, like, I think that God, like, has a plan, and, like, he closes doors that should be closed and open the ones that should be open. And I think that this was a perfect example of like him not getting me a deal, like me signing with this dude, right? Because we can always go back and be like, you know, he screwed me over, he was bad at his job. But it was one of those things where like I'm like, okay, maybe God's trying to show me something. Maybe I'm not supposed to be playing basketball. So at the same time, I called Boog Shiambi because we play Iowa State. And Boog Shiambi and Van Gundy was doing that game. And I was hurt. I just so happened to be hurt. And I went to go sit with them during shoot around instead of like the team. Because the SID once again was like, hey, this guy wants to get in the media.
Every championship team needs reliable players, and in the kitchen, your equipment is your starting lineup. You need stainless steel solutions that perform under pressure, help you stay in the game, and finish the job. That's where Advanced Tabco Smart Fabrication comes in. Just like a professional team trusts this MVP, you can trust Smart Fabrication to help you with all of your kitchen needs. From work tables to sinks to custom fabrications, Advanced Tabco delivers precision, durability, and excellence to help you win on every play. Whether you're running a fast food service kitchen or you're being meticulous about every detail, Smart Fabrication is built for the high stakes of food service. It's designed to help you optimize your space, maximize your workflow, and get consistent results every single time. And in a world where every second counts, there's no room for turnovers. That's why Advanced Tabco Smart Fabrication is your go-to teammate for building a kitchen that works just as hard as you do. Ready to bring home your food championship? Visit advancedtabco.com and get the equipment that helps you deliver the win.
So I chopped it up with them and they told me to reach out to him whenever. So all right, cool. So I ended up texting him around like May, June, and I ain't think nothing of it. I was just like, hey, I don't think I'll be playing basketball that much longer. Just wanted to see what I had to do in order to get on the ESPN. And Boog Shiambi hits me back, because I also text Holly too and tell her the same thing. And Boog hits me back and was like, all right, I'm going to connect you with the head guy over college basketball at ESPN, and he'll give you a call. Man, the man calls me, right? He calls me in the next week. And this is June. This is June or July. This is end of June. And he calls me, and he's like, hey, I want to get you up for an audition. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, we can do that. Well, he asked if I had a reel. It's like you have a basketball reel, like you have a TV reel. I said, no. He said, well, all right, we need something. So I had to do a makeshift reel of me interviewing Coach Drew, interviewing some of my teammates, and then the stuff we took from that past summer when I did all those recordings. So we sent it to him. They set up my audition date. I actually missed my first audition date, which is crazy, because I didn't have my voicemail set up. So like they left the voicemail, and then I missed it, and then 3 weeks later they give me a call, which is crazy because you miss it, it should be over with. They give me a call, and he's like, hey, I thought you was interested. I was like, yo, I am. Like, I've been waiting to hear back from you. He's like, well, we left a voicemail. I was like, I swear I didn't get it. I promise I didn't get it. They gave me a second shot. I go out there, I do my audition, and what's interesting is so we did an audition for games and then an audition for studio. So I did two separate auditions. My audition for studio, I actually messed up, like really, really bad. I'm talking about like it was one of those things where me and you were talking, and I was middle of my sentence, and I froze. It was like, and then my Dallin Cuff, one of my good friends in the industry, Dallin Cuff, I work with a lot, had to like pick me back up. Was like, well, like you were saying this and you meant this, but I thought I bombed it for real. So I leave that audition. This is like early July, either end of June or early July. I don't hear back from these people until end of September. Bro, it's 2.5, 3 months. I don't hear back from these people from ESPN. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. But mind you, right, I haven't told too many people this story. But mind you, a week before I heard back, this is when I was confirmed that ESPN was what I was supposed to be doing. I got a call from the Rockets. I got a call from Houston Rockets, their G League team. And the dude calls me, and he's like, what are you doing now? And I was like, man, absolutely nothing. He was like, well, we're having a workout on Saturday. We want you to come. This was like a Monday. He was like, we want you to come to our workout on Saturday. If you perform well, you can make it to our G League training camp and then try to work your way up. So in my mind, this is my last chance with basketball. So I'm like, all right, I got to go do this. I'm training all week. I'm working hard, man. I'm grinding, doing all of that. Friday night comes. I get another call from that same guy and literally tells me, hey, our doctors and our legal team was looking over some of your like paperwork, and they realized you got a heart disease, and we wouldn't feel comfortable giving you a contract if you came and performed well. So unfortunately, you can't come to the workout.
Dang.
Bro, I was done. I was devastated because that was like my last opportunity. I got rid of my agent because he didn't do anything for me. And I, was thinking that this was my shot. Like, this was my chance to work my way up. Man, listen, I was devastated, bro. Like, you talk about, like, just, getting recruited by all these high-level schools, being a 4-star basketball player, like, going through everything I went through, just to be told one more time. I've been told no so many times in my life. Just to be told no for this very last time, when I'm thinking, like, you know what, this is my chance. God gave me this chance. Psych, right? So that next week, I think I want to say it was like a Monday or Tuesday, I get another call, but this time from ESPN, saying, hey, we just want to let you know that, you got the job. And I was like, bro, what? Like, I got the job. But when I tell you, I instantly started crying, bro.
Yeah.
Like, the emotion of, being told no so many times, then finally being told yes. Because I was the youngest person they ever hired in my position.
Wow.
Like, there's never been a guy my age.
And what were you hired for? Like,
just to be analyst.
Analyst, got you.
To be straight. My first game was Oklahoma State, Wichita State on ESPN.
Wow.
And mind you, bro, like, they don't train you for this.
Yeah.
Like, ESPN didn't train me.
So walk me through, like, so you know that you're gonna talk about, you're the analyst for that game. Like, what does that process look like? Because obviously you got to watch tons of film, you got to have write-ups, you got to have notes. Like, what does that process look like?
Yeah, so for everybody it looks a little different. You got some people who prep a lot, some people who don't. And I'm in the means of being over-prepared because we have this like 90% rule, which means you're going to draw up like your whole boards. Your boards is like the sheet that you used before. And you're only going to use 90% of it. I mean, you're not going to use 90% of it. You're going to use like 10%. So like that's probably, one of the reasons why some guys don't prep. So no shade to those guys. However, like my first game, Oklahoma State and Wichita State, I didn't really understand how to prep. Like, I didn't understand like what it took to be good. I was horrible, man. Like, and I made the mistake, you probably find this funny, I made the mistake of checking my social media during halftime. My first game ever. Bro.
What happened?
I was getting killed. I'm talking about dudes people were like, King McClure is trash. King McClure is terrible. Why did they hire this young dude? He is absolutely garbage. Get this man on my TV screen. Bro, and at the moment, I didn't know this came with a job. So I'm like 22. I'm like, listen, I'll tell my producer, hey, I can't finish this game. I'm done. He's like, well, if you leave, you're going to get fired and you're under contract. So you can figure this out afterwards, but right now you better lock in.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. So I locked in, did whatever. I mean, I'm used to it now. I'm used to the fans. But I didn't understand, like, what that really fully entailed, when I first was new to it. Because, once again, we don't get trained on it. So a typical game, I'm probably watching – man, I watch so much college basketball. It's like typically I would watch 2 games, the past 2 games that they played. Because I want to know all your actions. I want to know all your sets. I want to know what you go to late in game if the game is close. I want to know what you come to after timeouts, how many times you switch defenses, who's your go-to guy. Like, if you need a bucket and you're on a drought, who are you going to get the ball to? And then I go on Synergy and I watch every single player's possessions in the last like 3, 4, 5 games. Or if they had like a really big game where they scored 20, I want to watch every single time you touch the basketball. Like, how'd you get your buckets? How'd you get your points? So I'm probably spending a smooth, to prepare for one game, 8 hours, 7, 8 hours. Like, before y'all came, I was up since 8 a.m. Studying UCF.
Yeah.
I got them tomorrow, UCF in Kansas. Yesterday, I spent about 4 hours on Kansas. Today, I probably spent like 3, 4 hours on UCF. But luckily, I watch so much basketball that I watch so many games that I don't necessarily have to watch their last 2, 3 games because I've already seen them like 3, 4 times a piece. But, yeah, I mean, I write my boards. I take down my notes. I'm not really big on fluff. There's some analysts who, like, that's their style. Like, they like the fluff. They like where you went to high school, who you were connected with this. I'm not big on that. I'm big on basketball. Like, just, how do you score your buckets? How efficient are you? Like, how can you get to it when the game is on the line? I'm big on those type of things. And, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how, you know.
Yeah. Were you a big film guy in college?
No.
See,
No.
I had a feeling like, no, like not bashing you or anything, but I had a feeling you were probably going to be like, no. Most of the top players aren't watching that much film anyways.
Yeah.
So, like, was it a big transition for you to have to watch 8 hours of film?
You know, no, because I love basketball.
Yeah.
I think that's just my thing. Like, I love this game so much, bro, that I just love watching it. And I don't care what level it is. Like, I mean, some levels it's horrible. I can't watch because it's such bad basketball, right? But I just love the game so much that, like Kai Cenat, right? Kai Cenat had his whole Twitch thing where he was playing against these 7 to 8 year olds, and his team had reached out and was like, "Hey, you want to do these games?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." It was so unserious, but I love basketball so much that I'm literally
I'm better than me, bro. I'd have been like, nah, I'm cool.
I'm getting hype over these 7 to 8 year olds hitting moves, hitting step backs, because I just love the game so much. And that was an interesting experience.
Yeah,
it was so unserious. But like the funny part was he took it so seriously, and he's so not good at basketball that like he was really out there trying.
Yeah.
And like in between games, he was like, "Bro, you got any tips for me?" I was like, "Yo, just shoot the ball up more," because like he was shooting that thing like a dart, flat, like just straight shooting bricks. And I'm like, "Yo, just get the ball up a little bit more, bro." And like it looked better. It still didn't go in, but it looked better. But he was a super cool dude. Shout out to him. One of the coolest, most realest, down-to-earth dudes I've met in my life. But just like, that's a perfect example of how much I love the game, how much I enjoy watching any level of basketball. Like, even with him being, like, bad out there, and, like, blocking all these little kids' shots and stuff, and, like, putting up 32 and, like, 28, right? Like, to see that, I mean, I just love watching basketball, and I'm just a huge basketball fan, so I don't mind watching film.
Yeah. No, that's what's up, man. I know the answer to this question, but, like, how cool is your job?
Bro, it's great, man. I love it. Like, it's almost like a dream job. Because truth be told, but I don't have a certain hours. I don't have hours. I don't have an office that I have to go to. It's just watching basketball and giving my informed opinion on something that I love to do. Like, it's really a blessing, which is why a lot of times, like, we look at certain people and, you know, like I'll have conversations with some of my colleagues. And, you know, they'll complain about how much money they make. I'm like, bro, listen, you are getting paid better than the average person. And you don't have technically a real job.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I call a real job. A doctor is what I call a real job. A nurse is like a real job. A teacher is like a real job, right? Like,
you get paid to watch hoops, bro.
I'm getting paid to watch hoops, and you listen to me for 2 hours tell you my opinion on the game. Like, to me, that's a blessing that I can't take for granted. And that's why every single time I do my job, like, I realize that I'm blessed to do it. And that's why I want to do it to the best of my ability. Because I understand, like, a lot of people would love to be in these seats. They would kill to be in this seat. So I can't take it for granted because people want my position. They want this spot.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Dude, I guess I just got one more question for you, man. You got a favorite game that you've ever called?
Ooh. I don't necessarily know if I have a favorite game, but the biggest game I called, actually, the biggest game I called this year, 2 months ago, Marquette and Iowa State, my first top 10 matchup ever. That was probably my biggest game, my favorite game. Cam Jones was really good, and Iowa State was really good. He's nasty.
So we played Marquette last year. You go and find this story really funny. We're watching film, and I remember the scouting report on Tyler Kolek was, let's just go under because he doesn't shoot behind ball screens.
Yeah.
Dog, first play, you can check me on this. First play, he comes across half court at the logo. First shot of the game at the logo. We go under the screen. Whop. Hit like 6 threes off a straight under the screen, like DHOs or whatever it was. And then it was like, all right, let's start chasing him off. And then he's getting downhill. He's hitting Cam Jones for threes and backdoors. And it's like, we got waxed.
So Cam Jones is disgusting, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even his scoring. It's just like the way he passes the rock. Like, we didn't see it last year because Tyler Kolek was the one passing. But this year, I mean, to average like 6-7 assists and to get like triple doubles with like 10 plus assists, bro, you're an elite level passer for sure.
Yeah.
But that was probably like my favorite game I've ever done. It's crazy because I lost my iPad. I lost my whole boards before the game. So I had to literally go to Target, write it out on a piece of paper, take it in there. But I was so locked in. I was so mentally focused. Like nothing was going to stop me from having a bad game.
For sure.
Like I was going to kill that game, for sure. Because it was one of my biggest moments that ESPN has ever given me. I'm like, I'm not letting people down. Like I worked way too hard to get here, and I'm about to go kill it.
Yeah.
And I did my thing. I killed it. So
yeah. Are there certain assignments or certain, Sonic blockbuster matchups that you like dream about?
Yeah, I mean, everybody dreams of, having those, the Duke North Carolina games or like the top 10 matchups for sure. But I think that one thing that they kind of stress in our meetings, and one thing that I try to pride myself in is like treating every game like it's that big game. So like when those games do come, it doesn't feel like it's a bigger moment. It kind of feels the same as everything else. So like no matter if I'm on ESPN Plus, if I'm on ESPN 2, if I'm on ESPN 1, like it doesn't matter. Like I treat every single game the best of my ability. And I mean, I'm sure as I continue to grow in my career, and hopefully one day, my dream is to get on College Game Day. And I hopefully think that one day it could be possible. I just got to keep working, keep getting better. But I think that, then it feels a little bit different because the show is bigger, because it's just the whole bigger aura about just everything at College Game Day. But, I try to treat every single game like it's the same no matter what game it is.
For sure. And, man, I forgot to ask you, you got your own show.
Yeah, well, I do a weekly show with the Big 12 called Inside the 12. It appears on every single, Big 12 market. So no matter if that's like Cincinnati, Waco, Fort Worth, Provo, Stillwater. It appears on every market. It also is on the Roku channel. Then also I got my own show on YouTube, The OT with King McClure and Noah Bono. That's a weekly show too. So, yeah, check it out.
Yeah. So, like, what is the premise of both of those shows?
Yes, Inside the 12 is everything about the Big 12. So I was even talking college football last week. I was over there talking about Cam Scatterboo, how fire he was in the game.
I gotta go find that. I need to see you talk college football.
Yeah, I was talking about Scatterboo and Levin and how good they were. And then we talk everything: women's college basketball, men's college basketball, football, everything in the Big 12 centered. And then the OT is just literally everything with college basketball, sports in general.
Yeah.
Just giving my hot topics on that. So.
For sure. Dude, and I gotta ask you one more thing, man. You played in the TBT last year.
I did play in TBT.
With Run DFW. Talk about the TBT and what that whole experience was like for you. Because I've watched that game like 6 times now, just because like that's part of my role here with Run DFW. But dude, just like talk about what the TBT was like.
Man, TBT is a great experience. So that was my 3rd year being a part of it. Mm-hmm. 2 as a player. I played for Hardfire 1 year, and then I was the analyst for it the next year, and then I ended up playing for Run DFW this year. Bro, I wasn't even supposed to be on the team this year, bro. Like, let's talk about this, because I wasn't even supposed to be on the team. My man Brayden was like, man, you an analyst, bro. You're not a hooper, right? So then we kept running the injuries, so that I just get thrown in there, and I'm like, all right, cool. I guess I'll get in shape in like a week to go play against pros. And I ain't even been playing basketball. So shout out BG, man. BG, I think it was more so Jake than BG. Jake was like, nah, bro. Like, we can't have him playing. So I somehow get on the team. But you know what? It was a great group of guys. It was a really great group of guys, really solid core. And if they do it again, for sure, like it would be a beautiful experience. I think that Jake and Brayden did a tremendous job, though. Yeah. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway from that is how impressed I was with the organization and with how they ran the whole like trip, the whole, brand, the program in a sense. Yeah. I think that was really impressive, especially for them being so young. They're like 22, 21, can barely drink or whatever, right? So like that, it was impressive to see how professional they were. Because a lot of times, like even with Heartfire, like it really wasn't that well organized. I mean, it was cool, right? It was LaFonso Ellis, it was Homer Drew. Like, it was cool. It was a great experience. But like the way that they ran it was it felt like a high level program and high level organization. So it was dope. It was a really good experience, most definitely.
That's what's up, man.
So shout out to BG and Jake.
Well, I swiped up because they were like posting some basketball ops internship thing. I was like, all right, this would be a cool little resume booster, like working with TBT, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, like need you to watch this game and kind of tell me what you think. And I look at the roster and I'm like, oh, they got King McClure. I'm thinking, see, when I get the roster, I'm thinking you starting PG, like you're out here killing. I like watched the game. You checked in, and I was like, yeah, I can't, like go to work. But nah, man, it's
bro, I went like
dope,
0
man.
for like what 4 from the 3-point line.
I wasn't gonna say.
I went like 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, bro. Did I get to the cup at all? Nah.
Yeah, you did.
I scored?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I scored. There we go. Yeah. Hey, yeah, there we go. Look, I went like 1 for 5 from the field. Bro, every 3 I took looked good. I just didn't have my legs, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel, like, as a shooter, right? You want everything to be like working at the same time, everything to be in rhythm and in that flow state.
Yeah.
Bro, I couldn't get my legs underneath me. So like I was just shooting. It was almost like all arms.
Yeah.
So it's like, ooh, all right. Ooh, all right. Ooh, and honestly, I wasn't gonna stop pulling, right?
Right.
So had they kept me out there, I was getting them up for
feel
sure.
you.
I was gonna go
you.
1 for like 20 if I had to. But
Yeah.
for sure, I was gonna go out swinging because I was like, all right, I'm either gonna have a really big game or I'm not gonna have a good game at all. And it was the latter. But it's cool though. I had a week to prepare. If they give me like 3 months to prepare, oh yeah. It's a different ball
for
game.
sure, bro.
Different ball game for sure.
Well, dude, I appreciate you doing this, man. This is an awesome episode. Probably my favorite episode I've ever recorded, man. So I really appreciate you.
Nah, I appreciate you inviting me, man. It was good.
Yeah,
good talk.
absolutely. So for everyone watching, make sure that you go follow my man King and turn on your listening ears next time you're listening to college basketball or watching college basketball because you're probably going to hear my man's voice. He's going to get some really big assignments coming up soon, and he's already called some amazing games. Dude really knows ball. I know he probably pissed off some of you guys because y'all don't actually know basketball. But with all that being said, whether you're on the court or on the sideline, go with God and always do your best. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the Beyond the Arc podcast. If you have not already, make sure that you go ahead and like this episode and subscribe to our channel. And go follow our guests on all of their platforms that they may have. We will link them down below in the description. And make sure that you go follow us on our socials as well. We are preparing for the 2025 TBT tournament, and we are planning on making a very big and very exciting run. So make sure that you follow us to stay tuned with everything that we have going on here. And with all of that being said, keep on running.